Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. I hope everybody has had a triumphant Tuesday. I know the cryptocurrency market certainly has. Today, or certainly in this video, we're going to be delivering our daily cryptocurrency market update, and we've got so much to go through in this video. We saw the biggest Bitcoin daily candle in terms of percentages in over a year. Very impressive candle. A number of things went into this candle, such as shorts getting liquidated, which has caused Bitcoin to kind of surge to that 44 region. Now, we're not out of the woods yet, guys. We are still in a downtrend, and the fact that we're actually failing to make a higher high, and this could potentially be another one, you are getting caught round about your 0.618, isn't good. So we need to essentially potentially come off a little bit here and then set up structure for continuation. This could turn into a W double bottom, which is certainly a scenario I'm looking for, but we are certainly not out of the woods yet, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, it is exciting, but it's not the time to be FOMOing, in my opinion, as we have an uncertain few months ahead of us, given everything that's taking place on a geopolitical scale and also a macroeconomic scale. You know, people are often, certainly given what's taken place, taking their eyes off what the Federal Reserve are or are not going to do. And we are still in a risk-off period. But Bitcoin actually may do quite well within that. As we see, you know, it actually gained strength during this period relative to everything. And we're actually seeing, certainly I'm paying attention to Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance going up is typically bad for the cryptocurrency market in general. You know, this was your bull market. And when you get, you know, Bitcoin dominance going up, it's not the best scenario. Now, I've spoke to a number of people that are kind of divided on whether this actually breaks out to the upside and continues and we see Bitcoin dominance gain, or we see a spiller to the downside. So it's still indecisive, but Bitcoin dominance is certainly creeping up, which is typically bad for the cryptocurrency market at large. The geopolitical events have created an interesting environment for Bitcoin because there's lots of people speculating, and we've certainly done it. Are Russia going to potentially use Bitcoin to bypass sanctions put on them by the US mainly, and some other of the Western and nations involved with NATO? It's a potential. It certainly would work. We've got Ukrainian lawyers that are looking into Russian wallet addresses for crypto to blacklist them. I don't really like where this is going because, believe me, if they can blacklist and find out them, there's no reason they could do it for somebody else they don't deem fit to use the system, which is crypto is doing what it's supposed to do. It's acting and working independently of a government. And that's the beautiful thing about Bitcoin. People often ask, why is Bitcoin valuable? Well, one reason is it's independent, and it isn't tethered. Not only has it proven itself as a store of value, but it isn't tethered to your government fiat systems and kind of global systems around the world, if you will. It's its own thing. And that's why it was created. If you look at why, there are people on here that I guarantee have not read the Satoshi white paper, the Bitcoin white paper. 100% read it. It's a short read, but it will give you a kind of background, a very brief background on what was trying to be achieved here. And it will really help you grasp the kind of cryptocurrency market at large. So Bitcoin is doing what it's supposed to do. You know, it's acting independently. Bitcoin doesn't have a side in this fight, but it can certainly be used by both sides. And we're also seeing, you know, a lot of Ukrainian aid, or certainly some Ukrainian aid, come in the form of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Tether, which is great. You know, the use cases for crypto and the relevancy of it continue to excel day in, day out. So we aren't out of the woods just yet. We need to actually convincingly put in a higher high here. And you have put in a higher low here, but we need to convincingly put in a higher high. Now, typically, you can see that buyers are really trying to push this up, but they're failing at the moment. Doesn't have to be the case. You can see they're trying to push it up, just like the sellers down here with the marginally lower lows were trying to push the price down. It didn't work. So these markets are still largely trader driven. However, we do know that we've seen quite an uptick in terms of Bitcoin volume transfer, which we're going to get into this article from Glassnode. And also, here is a first story coming in for Bitcoin being a practical wartime safe haven. It's done very well. You know, we've seen a lot of the ATMs and bank accounts get shut down on both sides, both on the Ukrainian side and the Russian side, as people sort of panic to get their money out. You don't have that issue with Bitcoin. Nobody custodies it other than yourself, unless you have it on an exchange. And I always practice and teach self-custody, certainly on some of the altcoins that I'm into. So the overall cryptocurrency market isn't doing too badly at all. altcoins, as you would expect, are really just following Bitcoin. Some are doing better than others. Terra Luna is absolutely killing it today, by the way, guys. They have a burn mechanism, which essentially burns, I can't remember how many Terra Luna got burned, but it was around about the equivalent of 2 point something billion dollars, which sees that off the table. And ultimately, it's a kind of scarcity mechanism, really, that's only there to increase the price and the scarcity of the asset. So they've done very, very well off the back end of that. But the overall market is doing quite well. Some are outshining others. And this is all really off the back end of Bitcoin sort of flourishing and permissioning those altcoins. Bitcoin is still absolutely the decider of direction in this market. And we can see, you know, as we're seeing dominance come up, that's a rather messy draw there. But typically they are. You know, we're seeing Bitcoin dominance come, which typically isn't great for the overall market. Doesn't mean that, you know, as Bitcoin dominance grows, your altcoins do, but Bitcoin in these kind of periods of dominance continuing to go up will potentially outperform. So it's certainly interesting. This is kind of tying in. You guys know that we don't believe we're entering a kind of historical 2-year bear market like we've previously seen on the last couple of cycles. I don't think these cycles necessarily look anything alike anymore, because I think we've matured as a space, and ultimately, you guys know my overarching view is that we see continuation for crypto as a whole. I think we are on an adoption journey, and that is going to take over. And really, we've been largely speculatively driven. We've been miner driven, given the fact that the halvening takes place every 4 years, and your miners have to adjust in terms of price to stay profitable. Now we're moving into, okay, well, adoption kicks in. Institutions kick in. Countries perhaps look to Bitcoin as a way to bypass sanctions, which is certainly an interesting concept, because then how do the West react to this, or how do the US really react to this? So much going on, guys. We've said from the start, crypto's actually held up relatively well given everything that's taken place. This is a new asset, and I think people are often comparing it to other assets and how they fare during times of war. And I think yes, of course, you can have a risk off period where people take speculation and risky positions off the table, but you just don't know how something like Bitcoin, that was really designed to work unattached to a government and really shine in those time periods, is going to react to everything that's taking place. So this is from Glassnode. The Bitcoin network has just settled almost 9 billion in change adjustment volume within a single block. So a huge amount of money within just one single block, alongside a recent increase in wallets, 100 BTC. This raises the question as to whether this is wells accumulating. Chart below are 7-day weeks at 10-minute resolution. So you can see here you've got huge transaction volumes getting settled within these blocks during these time periods. It kind of coincides with the price sort of spiking up. We know a lot of people quite a bit of short liquidations took place there. This is the breeding ground. When you have a market that's trending one way for a sustained period of time, people often don't bet against the trend. The trend is your friend. Everybody knows that as a trader. And essentially, they won't bet against it. So they'll put on a short only to get wrecked and then actually become forced buyers and increase the price to the upside. Leverage is absolutely dangerous, ladies and gentlemen. Let's move on to the next tweet. What we see is that there has been a peak only 225 million in BTC value withdrawn from all exchanges we track in this time period. This is much lower than the value of 9 billion in volume. As such, it is unlikely this volume and address account spike represents a massive buyer or buyers. So what they're saying is this actually didn't come from an exchange volume. So this was somebody else moving this around, which is certainly interesting. If we look to exchange in-house transfer volume, we see two recent transactions of 4.1 billion and 3.5 billion were recently moved specifically by Binance. This makes it most likely that the uptick in address holding 100 Bitcoin plus is associated with international exchange wallet reshuffling, which is interesting given everything that is taking place at the moment. So there's so much going on. One reason we've said we're not in a bear market, I don't believe we're going to enter a sort of 2-year prolonged bear market, is because the on-chain analytics just doesn't suggest that, whether that be short-term holders to long-term holders. I just can't see, in the same way that 2021 didn't play out as we expected. We were expecting this kind of parabolic end to the year going into this year. We haven't got that. Doesn't mean it doesn't come later on down the line, but I think it's because the space is more mature. You know, there's more coins about, volume gets kind of spread a little bit thinner. With regards to whales accumulation, the heat map below actually shows the large balance entities were the last accumulators. Small balance entities actually started accumulating first blue beginning of December. So this is what you can see here, guys. And it's interesting. So we always pay attention to on-chain analytics. They paint a different story to the narrative, often in terms of whether people are bearish or bullish. And it's good to sort of take a well-rounded view, which is hopefully what we're doing within these videos. So this is just a short and sweet one. I've just got back from the gym, trying to get back into, I've kind of been slacking in regards to the old exercise. Very easy to do when you're into crypto because it is a 24/7 market and there's lots to keep up to date with. However, it is absolutely important to stay fit, healthy, and mentally in a good place when you are investing, trading, or even the likes of swing trading, collecting NFTs, because you have to be mentally capable and in a good place to make right decisions. So look after yourselves out there, guys. Remember, exercise, try and eat clean, and you know, these all contribute to you making good decisions, in my opinion. Now, that is really all I have for you in this video, guys. I am going to love and leave you on that note. If you've enjoyed this content, a like is always appreciated. So is a comment. Remember, guys, hit that subscribe button. We do have a Discord. The link is in the description, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next YouTube video. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gents.